Welcome back to Positively Reviewed. We're back again. We missed a week. That's Nessa's fault.
It is.
We've got backup plans, so that will never happen again because Nessa's going to make it happen again, of course. But before we get into the episode, Nessa, I got a quick question for you. Mm-hmm. Guess what? The same as every episode.
Yeah.
If you were a hitman, which maybe that's what she was doing last week, we don't know. What's your disguise? What do you dress up as? What's your costume?
Are we talking on theme level of costume or full on more realistic hitman level of costume?
No, you could be anything you want. It doesn't have to be on theme. You don't have to be Agent 47.
Because on theme would be something rather minimal, and I was thinking like one of those stuffed animal fingers, like a little finger puppet. A little finger puppet.
You'd be a finger puppet?
No, because in Mr.Right, with the nose and the ears, I would have like a little finger puppet.
Oh, I see. Okay, so yes. you yourself are not the finger puppet. No. You are... I see. Okay.
Yes.
You just have a finger puppet.
Yes, that would be my thing. I would wave the little finger puppet at them and then perform my hit lady duties.
That's what you would use to talk whenever you knock on someone's door. You just reach around and you have the little finger puppet. Hey, how you doing? And then that's when your other hand comes around with the gun.
Exactly. I'm glad you can see my vision.
I get it. I think I've decided I would be I love those T-Rex costumes, so that's what I would be wearing. Those just really big T-Rex costumes. I've always wanted one of those. One day I'll get one. One day I'll own one.
See, my backup that I was considering was this bad boy. Was a blue fro is what I was considering going for, like the blue clown fro.
Oh yeah, I was gonna say that's just right alongside the clown one. It works perfectly.
Yeah.
So you're gonna wear that for the rest of the episode, yeah?
That might get a little warm, but we can roll with it. It is topical. We can be topical. Yeah, it fits over my headset.
It's good to have that. It's good to have that visual element in an audio podcast. So It's perfect. No one will see it except for the people who are watching this live. So.
But that's fine. For people listening, I put on a bright blue clown wig over my headset because it's that big.
It's very clowny too. It's perfect. So
I'm styling.
All right, but welcome, Positively Reviewed. I am Jon, and we also have Nessa with us as always. How you doing, Nessa? How was last week? The week that you were murdering people, apparently, as a hitman with a finger puppet.
Allegedly. We're not going to confirm anything. It was a good week. It was traveling to exotic places and getting interesting tan lines. And way too much exercise. Just a lot of exercise. But it was
just
nice.
A lot of walking?
Yes.
What do you mean exercise?
That's exercise, mister. You try walking 8 miles in like 90-degree weather.
I'll knock that out before breakfast. That's fine.
Alrighty,
but if you're new to the show, we are a podcast talking about some kind of media, movie, video games, TV shows. It could be anything. You want us to talk about how good spaghetti is? We'll do it. Haven't yet, but we might. Who knows? You don't know.
It's possible.
We don't even know. So it could happen. But we're here to talk about a lot of media. Today we got Mr.Right, which is a movie.
It is.
And it's all positive. That's what we do here. We leave out all the negative, and we talk about just the things that are important. The fact that we wasted our time watching something, but we enjoyed every second of it.
Wasted our time. Wasted it. What are you talking about? Especially when it comes to Mr.Right. That was an excellent time investment. And if you want to follow along with the podcast, We got Instagram, we got Twitter, Pause Reviewed Pod, POS, Reviewed POD. So we're going to find information and random stuff.
That's where we'll post a picture of Nessa's gorgeous, very, very accurate clown costume.
Yes. Very accurate.
If you want to be there, we'll post, supplemental content every once in a while. There's not too much crazy stuff we post there, but you get to see some fun things and some good jokes every once in a while. So, but what are we doing today?
I mean, today we've got this movie that I found. I was looking for rom-coms, and Netflix has it as like one of the top recommended for romantic comedies, and was Anna Kendrick, who I think is wonderful, big Anna Kendrick fan. And I was like, let's watch this. This looks cool. It's called Mr.Right. And
it was on my watch list back when it came out initially.
Which was 2015.
I just hadn't.
Yeah.
2016, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Was it on Netflix in 2016? I don't know if it went to Netflix in 2016.
Yeah, I don't know how long it's been on Netflix, but
we'll get into it. Yeah. There's actually some interesting, maybe in the facts section. Ooh, there might be some interesting stuff about it.
So that I could be surprised by them.
Yeah, so, but, Anna Kendrick and Sam Rockwell, which I'm a fan of Sam Rockwell. I've always found him to be a funny dude. He was in Charlie's Angels. He was also in
Iron Man 2.
The one that I always know, Galaxy Quest.
Yes, he was in Galaxy Quest, which I did not realize, watched the whole movie and kept going, why do I know this man? Why Galaxy do I Quest. Recognize him?
What's his name is Guy. That's right.
Yes.
His name is literally Guy because he, in the Galaxy Quest universe, if you don't know, Galaxy Quest is it's a parody of Star Trek, where all these people, Tim Allen is the head of a starship basically, but it's all a TV show. So they're actors in a TV show, but then they get wrapped up in a real life alien ship that apparently modeled everything directly off of their show. So all of their ships function exactly how it does on the show. And yeah, Sam Rockwell is a character named Guy who is just killed off as a random extra in one of the episodes. Yeah,
so he's a red shirt in the Galaxy Quest TV show. So in the movie, when the aliens think that everybody from the TV show is actually who they're acting as, he's Guy because he's an extra. And his thing in the movie is that he doesn't have a last name. And so people without a last name die because they're not important enough for a last name. And he's kind of old in Mr. Right. Like I was trying to figure out who he was and I wasn't scrolling back far enough to get to Galaxy Quest because I was like, no, I wouldn't know him from that long ago.
He's 52 years old now. He's not crazy old. I just realized when he wears glasses, he kind of looks like a young Gary Oldman. I'm now just realizing.
Oh, goodness.
Random side note.
Yeah. So Mr. Right was created by Paco Cabezas, who you're going to know from Penny Dreadful, Into the Badlands, Fear the Walking Dead, Alienist, American God's Strain. It was written by Max Landis, which American Ultra, and produced by Amasia Entertainment and Circle of Confusion, which I didn't know was a production company, but I love their name.
That's my entire life. It's just a giant circle of confusion.
I bet that it explains production really well. Like if you want to have an accurate name for your company, that sounds right to me.
Exactly.
Okay, so
but Mr. Right, as this is the greatest piece of media ever created until next week. This is a one-off, so it was kind of it's kind of an indie film, sort of, not really. I don't know. I guess you could call this an indie film. It really doesn't feel like it, but I guess it is. Yeah, it makes sense. But there's no real past experience. But what was your initial thoughts going into this movie?
Obviously, there are spoilers in our podcast. obviously.
Yeah. We didn't say that. Spoilers. Spoiler warning now. We're talking about a movie. We've actually been, I realize, listening, since I do the editing for the podcast, I have to re-listen to the us talk, which, us talking, man. Love it. Every second of it.
Yeah. We're a dream.
Yeah, we are a dream to listen to. But we've actually been pretty good about not going overboard on spoilers. So
I think I'm
maybe we don't need a spoiler warning. We're gonna have it anyways, but we won't do it too much. I'm
gonna hit some spoilers right here and now though. But fortunately, this movie doesn't really. It's okay if you spoil it because it gets to the point real fast. So I thought I was watching a rom-com. And it starts out where Anna Kendrick has gone through a bad breakup and she meets a hitman. This is all the Netflix synopsis, right? And I'm thinking she's going to meet a hitman and there's going to be some kind of epic chase fight scene or he's protecting her and it's going to be this like big budget Mission Impossible type movie. That is what I was expecting going into this movie, not really appreciating what it was. And it's ridiculous. I mean, the whole movie takes every single normal movie device and just blows it out of proportion, does the opposite, makes it as ridiculous as possible in an impressively overblown way. And so the whole time I was watching it, I kept thinking, well, they can't do this. But then that's exactly what they do. Every time. And I loved it. I loved it. That was pretty spoiler free.
Yeah, there you go. That'll work. Don't worry. We'll get into the actual, we'll get into the film after the fact section.
Yeah.
Which is where we are now. The facts. Wait. Well, actually, I should probably hold on.
What did you expect?
I guess I should give my initial thoughts.
Yes.
I'll be honest. Yeah, not at all what I was expecting. I was expecting what's that movie? Oh wow, I can't. It was with Mila Kunis.
Was it Chitty Chitty Bang Bang? Because I'm getting
No. What was that? Mila Kunis. And where she ends up accidentally falling into this whole spy world. It turns out that her boyfriend was a American spy, and then he gets killed, and now she gets wrapped up into this giant spy espionage conspiracy world. That's kind of what I thought it was going to be. Mm-hmm. I totally have forgotten the name of that, but it was another comedy. But yeah, this was more in the rom-com. I'll be honest, going into this, I didn't think that this was going to be a rom-com. I didn't realize it was going to be a rom-com, mainly because I didn't even look up what it was supposed to be. So, but yeah, I thought it was more, she was just going to end up accidentally meeting someone, and all of a sudden, now she's becoming a hitman, and just miraculously, somehow, she has the powers to do so, but it was more by everything that happens is by pure accident, right? It's one of those, like, she would trip and all of a sudden a gun would go off and she'd hit a guy in the leg and she'd be like, oops. Oh, that's convenient. That was more what I thought. Not exactly what we got, but
no, but you were closer.
Stay tuned until then so you can see what we're talking about. Ooh.
Yeah. Now
they're
do the
forced
facts.
to stay.
I know.
Yeah, fact section.
Because I haven't read them yet, so I don't know what they are.
Yeah, and I totally didn't finish one of these, the first fact 10 minutes before we started this episode.
Not at all.
That didn't happen. So
no.
You won't be able to tell.
Okay, well, so the whole movie, so yes, John does all the facts, and then I don't read them, so then I can be surprised and be like, wow! So you guys get your authentic reactions. The whole movie was built on a, really, $7.5 million budget and only made $830,374 in the box office, but we don't know how much it made from the Netflix deal. There was a guy in California who could have made this movie after spending $500 on an abandoned storage unit, and inside was $7.5 million in cash. Wow. It's an interesting fact.
Yeah, so that was, first off, $7.5 million. That's a pretty small budget.
Yeah.
I felt it was bigger than what they needed for this movie, but also a relatively small budget.
Maybe most of that budget was for Anna Kendrick and
probably and Sam Rockwell
yeah.
and Tim Roth. Tim Roth is in this too. So all of those three are, and RZA. RZA's in this. We'll get to all that in a bit. I loved RZA's character. But yeah, it didn't even make $1 million in box office because I don't think it actually went to theaters. This was a movie that was only shown, I think, in film festivals. Mm-hmm. So I think it was just the money made from showing it at film festivals or paying to go there, because I don't remember this ever coming to theaters. I might be completely wrong, but I'm trying to think back to like 2016. I don't think this came out in theaters at all.
I don't think I saw it. I mean, Anna Kendrick has been a decently well-known name for a while, on the rise.
Yeah.
Pitch Perfect was around then, pretty big. So I think we would have seen it if it were a little more mainlined. So I guess not. And I see you put my favorite fact in. So the 800.
Well, hold on. I gotta talk.
Okay.
Let's say you. I've always wanted to do that. Have you ever wanted to do one of those like auction buying up in a storage units kind of thing? Auction off storage units?
I mean, not particularly, because like I've seen what people's basements look like, and I don't really want to sign up for that.
They got a whole HGTV, right? TV show, Storage Wars. I hate that I enjoy that show, but I do, where that's all they do. It's a whole thing about how these people buy up storage units and try and sell whatever. It just looks like so much work, because you have to like pawn it all. Yeah. So you have to go to like multiple shops to try and get the best price. It just seems like a lot of work, too much work. But I still want to do. Something I want to do at some point in my life is go to these storage unit auctions where you could buy it up. But yeah, there was a guy who spent $500. This was a real thing. Yeah, a guy in California.
Okay.
No.
Okay.
No, a guy in California spent $500 at a storage unit auction on a and inside was straight up $7.5 million in cash. I don't know. I didn't really read the story from there, so I don't know if I'm guessing do you keep the money in that scenario? Because, I mean, you got to think that's got to be something illegal is going on here, right? So.
Oh, you keep it. You 100% keep it. You guys $7.5 million. You don't ask any questions. Like, it's yours. If you filled out all that paperwork to buy that storage unit, like, this is my money. Thank you. You check and make sure it's not counterfeit. That's what you do. You deposit it in a real bank. But I mean, wouldn't
the police get involved? I mean, that's not a small amount of money. The police got to get involved and be like, where did this money come from? How is this here? Who has it?
No.
I mean, they wouldn't give the money back, but they would check if it's blood money or something, right?
No, it's just money. It's just in your storage unit. Why would they know? They don't need to know.
I feel if this should be the strat for cleaning money. If you're in the drug cartel, here's your way of cleaning money. If the police don't get involved here, put all your cash in a storage unit and then forget it and then auction it off. And then you just buy the storage unit yourself and you'd be like, wow, how convenient. My $800 million in a storage unit. That's crazy. I can't believe it. I guess it's mine now and it's all clean. I'm assuming he had to pay taxes on it, right?
Yeah, I believe there's some kind of like windfall or something like that.
Yeah. Whenever you're given a big influx of cash, there's always some kind of taxes. That's crazy.
It's probably about 50%. You probably lost about 50% of it to taxes. But that's still a lot of money. Like, good for him.
Yeah. This is why, from now on, I'm just going to buy up every storage unit, because you never know when $7.5 million in cash is going to be sitting in it.
Just chilling. So, probably not again, but we can dream. No. I'm very worried about where that money actually came from. Like, who has that much in... What...
I feel scared to keep $100 under my bed. I throw $1 million, $7 million in a storage unit. Yeah, that doesn't seem like a good idea. That doesn't seem very secure.
And maybe it's someone who was just trying to hide it from taxes and they meant to like leave it to their grandkids and then left the storage unit out of the will. Because they're old and they forget things.
It is, if you don't pay your storage unit, again, how do you just forget to pay a $7 million storage unit cost at that point? But yeah, I guess you just forgot to pay a storage unit and then it gets auctioned off. Madness. So. All right, but here's Nessa's favorite fact.
Yeah, so $830,000, which is the amount that the movie made, would be roughly the cost to raise 2 kids in the greater Seattle area in 2021. Joker's very upset that he had to do math to figure this out.
I had to do math. In order to make this fact work, I had to adjust for inflation and stuff. Because basically the cost... I live in the Seattle area, so this is why I was excited. It was actually kind of hard to find. Once again, the work gone in to actually figure out how much it costs to raise kids in places is a lot more work than you would think it is. But I couldn't really when you look up how much I'd have to do conversion for the million, so I went with the 800,000.
Got it.
Which we know the average cost is like 230,000. So in the Seattle area in 2015, it was like $360,000 to raise a kid in the greater Seattle area. But that's 2015. If you adjust for inflation, it is roughly about $408,000 per kid. So close enough to the 830,000. With a little extra for yourself on the side.
Yeah, that $7,000 extra.
But yeah, I live in the greater. I grew up in the greater Seattle area, so sucks for my parents. Turns out I had to pay that much for me.
Yeah,
and I was an expensive kid. You listen, I'm a fancy boy. I got expensive taste.
Oh goodness! All right, well we're gonna tuck that amount back of our head. Now, would you like me to read the rapid fire facts? You want to take them?
Rapid fire fact section. Yeah, we've turned fact section 2 into rapid fire fact section because there's a bunch of small facts that we can just kind of throw out there. So go for it.
All right. Well, the project was announced in 2011. Anna Kendrick was
6 years.
Yep. Yeah. Anna Kendrick was nominated for Best Comedy Actress for Teen Choice Award for this movie. I enjoy that. It's my favorite fact so far.
Let me be 100% real with you. Really surprised that this movie was nominated for anything.
I know, as soon as I saw that, I was like, who knew to nominate this?
I don't know. And this is an interesting movie to be for Teen Choice Awards on top of that.
That's true.
I
mean, nobody's naked in it. Are they?
No, that's true. Yeah. And the violence there's not a lot of blood and gore or anything like that. I think there's a bit of language, but
there's definitely language because my favorite line is the I bleeping love turtles, you bleep.
Oh yeah.
That's my favorite line in the whole movie.
That's right.
Oh gosh. Okay. So the movie premiered at the Toronto International Film Festival in 2015, but it wasn't initially released until 2016 in Russia was where it was first released.
So apparently it was in theaters in Russia, but as I said, I don't remember it being in theaters in the US at all.
You didn't go to Russia and check?
I didn't go to Russia for this movie, sadly. I would have, but
I would have. This movie was great.
Just unfortunate that I was just unaware of it at the time. So, and I think that's when, around that time, it's probably when it was probably going to go to theaters, but then Netflix bought it up, is my assumption. And that's why it ended up coming to Netflix instead. So.
Got it.
Yeah.
So the whole film was shot in only 7 weeks in New Orleans.
That's a really short amount of time to film. Filming, again, editing is what takes the longest time of the process, but 7 weeks is a very short amount of time for a movie.
I guess they kept their character list, like their actor list, very small, so the scenes were kind of the same people over and over, maybe made it easier.
Yeah, and I didn't mention it was going to be kind of one of the facts, but it was a lot. But pretty much each of the actors, they were chosen over time. Like since this was first announced in 2011, only Anna Kendrick had been chosen for the part, and then it was like a year later than Sam Rockwell was, and then another year after that, RZA joined the cast, and then a year after that. So like they only got their like one or two actors a year for this movie. So it really was not on a speedy schedule to begin with until they started filming, and then they're like, we'll dish it out 7 weeks. It's fine.
Yeah, totally fine. Francis's fighting style utilizes Wing Chun and capoeira, which is cool.
I wanted to throw in this fact just because I wanted to shout out the fact that I've been watching a lot of YouTube videos around stuntmen reacting to fight scenes in movies and stuff like that. It's by Corridor Digital, and it's really good. It's actually really interesting, and they talk about like those kind of fighting styles and how they're utilized in movies and how they change accordingly. So how they, not all of it is all that, I guess, classic to the actual fighting style because they have to pan to the camera, right? So they change a lot of the stuff for it. So, and I'm trying to remember what like Francis's fighting style in the movie reminded me very much of the drunken master in
yes,
that kind of style of fighting is more. So when I heard this, I was like, oh, that's kind of a surprise actually. So
that there was actual rhyme and reason behind it and not just
well, I mean, you know, the drunken master is a legitimate fighting style, but I've totally forgotten the name of the movie that was in. Is it the Seven Dragons? I don't remember. There's a Jackie Chan was in it. I don't know, man. So alrighty, and then now we got the Joker's little Easter egg rapid fire thing because this is all directly into the movie. You remember at kind of the beginning where we saw Johnny Moon, who was one of the villains, where he threw that guy over the bridge, wrapped the guy up and threw him in the bridge? Yep. That was actually the director of the movie. So that was the director of the movie that was thrown in there. Anna Kendrick, Sam Rockwell previously worked together on Digging for Fire. Never heard of the movie, don't know what it is. So, but there you go.
We might need to watch that one.
Apparently. Do you like Anna Kendrick? I like Anna Kendrick too. She's great. So I'm down. I like a lot of her movies. So, but Tim Roth's character pretends to be an FBI agent with the last name of Knox. Sam Rockwell's character was previously starred in Charlie's Angels, where his character was known as Knox. So they did a few of this. It's not like oh, maybe that's coincidence. Just wait.
There's
when
more.
Tim Roth assumes his fake FBI identity, he puts on a gold wedding band, and the shot is identical to the one that he does in Reservoir Dogs, because Tim Roth is in Reservoir Dogs as Mr. Orange, and it's the shot is identical to the shot that is used for that movie. So obviously the director had some interest in kind of doing shout outs to them. So and then same thing with Anna Kendrick's character. His full name is Martha McKay. And then her character in her show 50/50 is named Catherine McKay. So supposedly they're sisters or related in some way was the concept. And then same thing, this is slight spoiler. It's not really from what I saw, but it's mentioned that Francis, Sam Rockwell's character, had been in the CIA for 15 years. This was a direct reference to Project Ultra, and from the American Ultra movie, and the Dirk Gently's Holistic Detective Agency, which is in that it's mentioned there's a Project Blackwing, which it says it lost track of 30 of its individuals 16 years prior.
Wow.
And it suggests that Francis was affiliated with Project Ultra and Project Blackwing, and all these films supposedly take place in the same universe because they were all worked on by Max Landis. So the writer of it, he wrote all of these movies in the exact same universe. So supposedly his character has been part of all of these movies in one way or another. Yeah.
Interesting.
So little deep kind of Easter eggy stuff in the film, which I enjoy. I like it when directors do those kind of things. I don't know. Those are the kind of small notes of detail that I enjoy, of just inter-universe, the movie stuff, and I don't know. I enjoy it. That's my point.
I like it. I think Easter eggs are cool.
Yeah, they're fun. They're fun, and I think they just like to pay homage and give shout-outs to previous works and stuff. So,
all right, and now our last fact, crazy deep funny fact. Are we ready? Are we ready for the last fact? I like the fact section. It makes me sad when we get to the last one. All right, this was distributed by Focus World in the U.S. and then Lakeshore Entertainment /Sierra/Infinity for international sales. It got some pretty bad ratings, 44 out of 100. But Anna Kendrick and Sam Rockwell were praised for working well together. Jon doesn't even remember this movie in theaters because it got a second life and ended up pretty successful once it went to Netflix, where the ratings jumped up to 70 out of 100. I'm going to attribute...
that was some of it even went up, like, it was like 77. I saw some 82s and stuff like that. So it actually, like, it got really bad ratings initially, but once it got to Netflix, all of a sudden people really enjoyed it. So
I think there's an element of, like, meme culture appreciation that is different between an internet streaming audience and a theater audience. I think there's a difference there. This movie is not one that you have to watch for it to be a serious, like, it's not supposed to be a movie that does anything. It just is what it is. And I don't think that sits well with, like, film critics.
It's true. Yeah, I mean, film critics are always harsher, and I think that's a large reason why it got kind of rough ratings to begin with, is because it was really just shown at film festivals mostly. So, and a lot of times at film festivals tend to be the film critics and stuff like that. So,
I mean, I thought it was brilliant, though. Like, I know we're gonna jump into the meat here in a little bit, but it did what it was supposed to do in such a thorough.
It was actually. Yeah, it was actually very unique how the story went.
Yeah.
Which we could get into.
Yeah.
We don't have any Fill Me Up. We don't have any of that, right? We already did some Fill Me Up with the facts. Do we have any tangents we want to go off of? Anything you want to revisit in the fact section, or anything else we want to talk about?
I think my tangents are just going to focus on some of my favorite moments as we get into the movie, because I will say my one thing, Netflix, hey, start telling us how much money you make. Oh, that's true.
Because that's totally what companies and stuff do all the time, is tell us exactly how much money they're making.
Yeah.
Because, I'm just curious. I actually really do want to know how much movies and shows and stuff are making from getting these Netflix deals. And I don't know how the contracts work. I could probably look into it. I could probably figure out, but that sounds like a lot of work of figuring out, they probably do talk about if they make money just as a one-off, like they purchase the rights to it and they have it on Netflix, or if it's an ongoing, they pay over time, or if they actually get money according to how much it's watched or anything like that. I got no idea. So I'm curious about that.
I'm sure it's different for every single thing, for whatever deal gets negotiated.
Yep. All right, let's get into the meaty meat.
All right.
Into the film. Here, Nessa, hit us with the copy of the movie.
Mr.Right is a 2015 American romantic action comedy film directed by Paco Cabezas, written by Max Landis, and starring an ensemble cast featuring Sam Rockwell, Anna Kendrick, Tim Roth, James Ransom, Anson Mount, Michael Eklund, and is it RZA? So you say RZA, okay.
RZA, for those who don't know who RZA is, he's a rapper. We'll get into him a little bit, though. We'll talk about him, because he played a great character. I loved his character. Oh my gosh,
his character was, okay. The film, which follows an over-optimistic young woman, Anna Kendrick, who discovers that her new boyfriend, Rockwell, is a former professional hitman, was released in the United States on April 8th, 2016 by Focus World. And, the second copy here is a girl falls for the perfect, in quotes, guy who happens to have a very fatal flaw. He's a hitman on the run from the crime cartels who employ him. His flaw wasn't fatal for a little bit of the movie.
Yeah, she didn't even know. So, reading this copy, it's not at all what the movie was.
No, like, not even close.
It was to a degree, but what they don't explain is that Sam Rockwell's character, or Francis, who is known, Anna Kendrick just calls him Mr.Right for a while because he doesn't like the name Francis is the whole thing.
Yeah.
So he doesn't want to be called that. But he's a retired, he's a reverse hitman.
Yes.
Is what they don't explain, is that part of here's where that slight spoiler comes in. You find out near the beginning that he was in an accident in one of his missions. I can't remember if it was shrapnel or he got hit, basically. He got a concussion along those lines, and it ended up rewiring his brain to now where he feels he doesn't want to be a hitman anymore, but he kills the people who hire him as a hitman. So, because he thinks murder is now wrong, so he murders the people who are trying to do the murders, if that makes any sense. So yeah, he's a reverse hitman. He's killing the people who hire him rather than the targets.
Yes.
So,
and the other,
which his outfit is great. Let's just mention his outfit real quick. His disguise is he's a clown. So that's his whole bit, is that, in order to hide the fact that people know who he is, he puts on a clown nose. That's it. That's his entire outfit, to be a clown. He doesn't, no makeup, no shoes, nothing. He walks up and he starts talking to the person. And as he's talking to them, he puts the nose on and then he kills them. And that's it.
And the other thing that this synopsis doesn't really cover is, so he's this reverse hitman who's killing people. And Martha, Anna Kendrick's character, meets him. And she thinks he's kidding. And so typically in movies where you have a rom-com or in a romance adventure or whatever, and you meet a hitman, you get swept up into their world and you know what's going on and you're terrified, but you trust them because they're going to save you type thing. No, he looks at her and goes, "Oh yeah, I kill people." And then she's just haha, you're so cute.
Yeah, he never lies to her, is very much the thing. I think they're going off part of the whatever brain damage he suffered.
Yes.
Is he's a very honest guy, it seems, just overall. It might not be part of the brain damage, it's just himself. He's just a very honest dude. So everything he tells her is real. He ends up fighting a guy in an alleyway, killing him. And then he comes back in, she's like, "Oh, where'd you go?" He's like, "Oh, I just had to kill a jackass," kind of thing.
Yeah, and she's just like,
"Oh, okay, sure." And she just believes that it's a joke, but...
And the best part is so the bit keeps going and going and going. And this is just a good example of what they did with the movie, right? Because he kills somebody in front of her and she freaks out because she's known this guy for 2 days and is completely fallen for him. And then sees him kill somebody. And she's just like, "You killed him." And he's like, "Yeah, that's what didn't we go over that?" And she gets really upset because she's like, "Oh, you lied to me." And he's like, "Well, no, I didn't." And she just gets really indignant. And it's just like, "I thought you were kidding."
Yeah.
And it's just so...
And it's definitely one of those scary... I think initially the fear is am I going to get murdered? What's happening right now? She's like, "I want to go home because I don't want to be with this guy. But if I say that, am I going to get murdered as well?"
Here's the thing, though. It was this movie had this surreal realism to it.
Yes.
Because, so she's coming off
Best
of
way to describe it.
It was just fascinating how they pulled it off. The acting and the directing I thought was brilliant because she's coming off this horrible breakup. And we all know you make bad decisions right after a bad breakup. You do. We know that. I'm sure everybody has stories, right? So she meets a guy and she just spends 24, 48 hours with him or whatever. And nobody kills people. If they kill people, they're not going to tell you they kill people. So it's totally plausible that someone would joke about this and you're like, "Haha, it's dangerous. Oh, this is so cute and fun. This is different from my relationship that went horribly wrong." And then her horrific reaction when he does kill someone and she freaks out because she's like, "Oh, are you going to kill me now?" But then the surreal part is like 10 seconds later. She's just like, oh, okay.
Yeah, well, and she feels, I don't know, I think it just speaks to Anna Kendrick's character is very much, she has a sense about how she how she reads people, right?
Yeah.
Is that this whole time that she spent with him, she honestly believes he's a good guy, right? And I think seeing him actually kill someone, she's all of a sudden like, wait, hold up, what the heck's going on? You're a crazy person. Because she initially thinks he's kind of a crazy person when he hits on her. She's like, you're a creepy dude. But then she doesn't know how to feel. She's conflicted with the whole process of it all. Which there's a bunch of scenes in this where there's a lot of laughing involved that is almost, as someone watching it, you feel a little, it feels out of place, but not in a bad way, if that makes any sense. Like, there's the way that they describe how the fighting style of how Sam Rockwell's character is able to do what he does and why he's so good and no one is able to kill him is that he sees or he feels the energy of the universe. And it's part of the reason why he's drawn to Anna Kendrick's character is he believes she has the same ability, which might happen. I don't know. Watch the movie.
But it's another example of where
it happens.
Like, you can't, in most movies, you'd say, oh, they can't just do that. Because everything about this movie was based in the human, real, normal world. And then they introduce this entire supernatural element of this ability that he has.
And it's how they explain everything.
Yeah, with nothing. And they just, like, magically make it work. And you're like, they can't do that. Like, it breaks all of the rules of narrative and world building. But they just do. Just like
he could basically dodge bullets and fight people and stuff because he just feels the energy. He can tell when they're going to shoot, so he's able to dodge or catch knives or stuff because he can feel the energy around the knife, and so he's able to just catch knives.
It's got a little bit of like Wanted energy to it with the curving bullets thing.
It's actually very
it's got a little feel of that, but like done brilliantly.
The way this was compared to two movies a lot. It was Pulp Fiction and Gross Point Blank. I don't really know what Gross Point Blank is.
Same.
From what it
page.
sounded like, Gross Point Blank was very similar to this movie, though. I believe it was very much like a woman falling in love with a retired hitman or something along those lines. So, but I don't think it was a comedy. I don't know, though. But it was related to Pulp Fiction a lot, which... was confusing to me.
Interesting. Yeah, but I mean, Pulp Fiction does kind of have the same...
It has hitmen in it, I guess.
Yeah. Well, it has the same, like, disjointed story. Because, like I said, she gets really upset that he kills somebody. And then 20 seconds later, oh, okay. And she's just like, it's all fine. And the emotion whirl is very fast. Like, the viewpoint change is abrupt. And I think Pulp Fiction has similar abrupt tonal changes.
Well, Tim Roth is also in Pulp Fiction too. So
Tim Roth was such a surprise to me that he was in that, but I love Lie to Me. So I loved it.
Tim Roth. So but yeah, no, it was, I think that was the best way to describe it. It was a very surreal realism in this, where all the characters, I think this movie had a unique take on one that I appreciate. I've seen it a few times. I think I will look it up in a second. But it's very similar to, in reality, this might be more how people react to things in real life, right? Whenever you watch Hitman movies and stuff, they're all this very official, very stocky and stiff kind of characters sometimes. But some of this was just like, people just get fed up. I think the best example is Riz's character. His name is Steve. Is that he's given... There's a whole plot point that they're trying to trick Sam Rockwell's character into killing someone. So they give Steve, Riz's character, like an old-timey double-barrel shotgun. We're talking like blunderbuss level old shotgun, and he's like, what the heck, why do I have this gun? But he ends up actually hitting Sam Rockwell's character. But there's this weird interaction where Sam Rockwell expresses some respect to RZA because RZA's an actual good fighter, and he's able to almost, once again, feel that energy like Sam Rockwell's character can. And so there's this weird mutual respect that ends up happening, that even though they're on opposite sides, he doesn't kill him or anything. They don't kill each other almost until the end, where RZA has the advantage. He's like, look, you could kill me. I'm unarmed. Do whatever you want. He's like, nah, man, I like you better than everyone else. Screw this, right? And it's very much that similar. It's like, dude, everyone is an asshole, and you seem like a nice guy. Why am I killing you? I don't get it. So, and I honestly appreciate that kind of stuff because it seems so abnormal, but I feel that's how people would actually act in real life in these kind of situations.
Well, he was a hired gun, and the people who hired him at that point were dead.
A hired gun that was treated really poorly, right?
And he was like, they already paid me. They're dead. Like, you do you, dude. Have some gummy bears.
Right, exactly.
Oh, gosh. Okay, so we should take a step back here. I mean, these are all beautiful things, but the premise, there's actually a bigger premise of the movie that Joker kind of alluded to in, so Francis kills anybody who hires him, and there's this mob family that really wants to get rid of their older brother. So they're trying to get their older brother to hire him to kill one of their rivals so that Francis will actually kill the older brother. And they come up with all of these...
I want to shout out that person really quick. That is James Ransone is the character's name, is the brother, the younger brother or whatever. And that is the only thing I recognize him from is he was also in It Chapter 2. He was one of the characters from that one. So but yeah, no, I liked him in that movie a lot. It's why I think I liked him in this one too. So their characters were, I mean, there weren't a lot of people in this movie, which again is why I think it may be filmed so fast, but they were well placed. And so the whole point of the movie is, they fall in love and everything, but the action parts are like this mob boss family trying to turn on each other subtly and getting really mad that Mr. Right isn't doing what they want him to do. So there's all of these big battles. And you know how, you watch something and you identify with a character and you're like, oh man, I want to be that. Anna Kendrick's character in this movie, I identify so strongly. Like, I want to be her. Because she goes through... chaotic energy?
Yes,
yeah, that's very much
this absolutely chaotic, unstable, just like she just... I mean, should I go through the big spoiler with what happens with her, with the turtle comment and everything? Like, that's like...
Yeah, sure, go for it.
Yeah, that's my favorite.
That's spoilery.
Yeah, no, it's not. So there's this really big long fight that's the end of the movie, and they capture Martha, Anna Kendrick's character, to kind of lure Francis to come and save her and everything, because they've fallen madly in love in the space of 3 days that this movie takes place in. And she gets the better of them and just starts killing people. And she just becomes this master assassin all on her own. And the way when she finds out that she can kill them, she just giggles maniacally. She's just like, oh, you're dead now. Yeah. Bye.
There's a lot of that creepy giggling in this.
It's awesome. I love it so much. I was watching and I was like, can't, but yeah. It was a fun movie to watch because that unhinged joy that her character felt was just so pure, and I loved it.
Yeah, she really kind of became herself. I think she always had that unhinged side, but it was hidden away until Sam Rockwell, who was another unhinged person, came into her life, and they kind of both became unhinged together, and it was adorable. Yeah, because the whole time after he kills the first person, Anna Kendrick's like, no, she didn't like that. Sam Rockwell all of a sudden decides to stop killing people because he doesn't want to upset her, and then she just starts killing people. He's like, oh, okay, sounds good. So I guess that's back on the table. Good to know.
That interaction was also brilliant. So they had this whole thing where he kills somebody and she gets really upset, and so he's like, oh, I'm not going to kill people anymore. And then they get in this really dangerous scenario and he won't kill anybody. And she's like, no, you can kill them. It's fine. And he's like, you say that
yeah,
now,
she keeps trying
but
to tell
later
he's
in
like,
the car.
oh, it's fine. I'll be good.
Yeah, and then he's like, you say that now, but later in the car, you're going to be upset with me. It's going to be this whole thing, and we're going to fight about it. I'd rather just not do that. She's like, no, you can kill them. Oh, gosh. That was just the whole thing. It was like, because it was taking these ridiculous scenarios and putting completely normal conversations and tropes into them. So
right.
And you almost got whiplash from all of the different ways that it kind of dragged you around. I know we're positive about everything on this podcast, but like that movie is one of the most brilliant things I've ever seen. Fully and honestly, it's
definitely a movie. Again, it's fun. The show I was trying to think of earlier is The Orville. I don't know if you've seen The Orville. It's a TV series. It's Seth MacFarlane's comedy show that's a kind of a parody off Star Trek, but it's a legitimate, it's new generation Star Trek where it's now a lot a comedy rather than all seriousness. And I think the characters in that are very similar to the characters in this and how they act. It's not all super serious and all very militaristic of how they act. It's very much, it's a bunch of people with other lives and want to enjoy life who just happen to be part of their job involves them on a spaceship. And they just, it's how the way that they interact in that show is very similar to how I think the people in this interact, where there's a lot of jokes, a lot of random conversations, a lot of just, who really cares? We'll just go with it, you know? Yeah. I think the only one that was kind of which I like his character because once again I think I like the actor Michael Eklund was Johnny Moon.
Yes,
they did that a lot of the names. They had all these really dramatic sounding names. Johnny Moon. So and he was I don't even know what his character was supposed to be in this. He was kind of a fixer, I guess is the best way to describe. But I recognize him because he was also in Winona Earp. Which God, I love that show. You watch Winona Earp, yes?
I don't know that one.
Yes. You would love Winona Earp, I think.
Yeah.
That sounds like a series we're gonna have to talk about at some point. I'll put it on the list. I'm a big fan of that show. Big fan. Like that might be my favorite TV show out right now. So, I just realized that Riz. I wrote it down, but Riz's name is not just Steve; it's Shotgun Steve.
Yes,
is how he's referred to as. I didn't realize that.
What's the word he used? Didn't he call it janky or something? He had like a whole word. Like he had a very specific long like monologue about this shotgun. He was very upset with it.
Yeah, and then the next time he gets like an M16 military grade M16 with laser sights, and he's like, "You give me a 1940 shotgun or something like that." So,
oh gosh, no, that's his character.
It's a fun movie. Again, I was not going into this the way that it is described and the way that you think it is. It's not at all. It's actually a pretty unique movie in the whole scheme of things of how it goes about telling its comedy, telling its world, and telling its character. Like you said, Anna Kendrick's character, I think, is a good example. It's an unhinged world that they lived in. Anything goes.
Oh, yeah. But I mean, it was, I loved it. I thought they did a great job. I thought the action sequences were fun, right?
Yeah.
I want to see a second one. Here's the thing, right? I thought they set it up. I mean, it didn't make any money. I get why there isn't another one. It's unique. You don't always need to make a second one. You can appreciate what it is without needing more. But I would love to see another one. Like, it would be cool to, like, watch them work together. I think it'd be fun.
Now that they're in. That's what I was kind of hoping. At the end, spoiler. Now, this is a big spoiler. But at the end, I was hoping that, like, they were now buddies with RZA, pretty much. Just Steve. He ends up making a giant influx of cash for reasons. But I thought they were going to kind of be the crew. I thought it was going to be Anna Kendrick, Sam Rockwell, and RZA were now going to be this like weird hitman squad that was just kind of going around hanging, exploring the world and doing their own little jobs. Because I think I love the interactions between all three of them. I thought it was all really good. So I thought he was going to kind of become part of, they were going to have their own little crew at the end of it. So sadly we don't see that. But who knows? I once again, they can, if they made a second one, they could just bring his character back in as part of it. I think it'd be great.
Great. Oh, it would be so good. And besides, it only takes 7 weeks to film. I mean, how long could this take?
Yeah,
could you buy your storage unit already and fund the second movie, please? That would be great.
Yeah, I'll hop on that. I'll hop in buying a bunch of storage units up, see if I can get my millions of dollars.
Yes, and then you'll definitely spend it on the second movie for this franchise.
Yeah, that's that. Out of all the movies that I want to make in my life, if I wanted to make movies, this is the top one on the list.
I'm glad to hear that. See, now what happened with this episode is I went, you need to watch this movie. Like, you have to. I was just like, this needs to be our next episode. Let's go. And I don't really think I gave you much more than that before we rolled into this. Yeah. I think I just insisted that you watch it.
I'm good. I'm down with whatever. You insist I watch anything, I'll go watch it. I'm okay with that.
Well, I'm glad it turned out well. Not, everything here is positive. We wouldn't be reviewing it if we couldn't tell you how amazing it was. So, obviously, he liked it.
Yeah. Yeah. I enjoyed it. Overall, it was a fun movie. It was, as always, it's fantastic. But it was a fun movie. I would recommend it. I would definitely recommend for people to watch it. If you're looking, I think it's that good movie. It's a good backup movie. If you're sitting on the couch with your significant other or by yourself, whatever works, or your dog or your cat or whatever, and you don't really know what to watch, you're skimming through and you're like, man, nothing really is speaking to me. This is the perfect movie to go watch. I think it's a great, you'll have fun watching and you'll leave like, oh, I enjoyed that. That was a good choice for the night. So,
are you ready to give it a rating?
Yes, my rating is 7.5 million, but $7.5 million, but specifically has to be found in a storage unit.
I need to do a little bit of math, but my phone decided to update, so I'm gonna estimate it. So if 830,000 is 2 kids in Seattle, 7.5 million. So that's about 16 Seattle children. So I'll give it, 16 out of 5 stars will be my rating.
16
for Mr. Right.
children out of 5 stars.
Yes, 16 children out of 5 stars.
Okay.
That seems like a good rating.
Well, and then before we go, I guess last question I got for you is if you were in charge of the sequel, who are the stars that you're casting? If you couldn't use any of the same people. So let's say you're not allowed to use, or you know what? I lie. You keep Anna Kendrick and Sam Rockwell. So you can keep the main 2. But who are the people that they're going to interact with?
Got it. So like who are, oh no. Oh, this is a hard question. I got to think of like weird off-kilter actors. You got to think of actors'
names. I know.
I mean, I really don't know actors' names, which is partially a problem. Meryl Streep.
Yeah, I think. Okay.
Yeah, that's
okay.
That's what I want to see in this venue of this type of movie. I would want to see like a Meryl Streep or go another direction like a Julie Andrews. I think would be sort of, because I think so Meryl Streep, I just think of The Devil Wears Prada. Julie Andrews, I think of The Sound of Music. I think of Princess Diaries. So you have someone who is this very specific persona of seriousness or like happy and carefree, right? And if you put them into this kind of movie, who they are, like their force of will as characters is very strong. And I think taking that realism of their characters' seriousness and juxtaposing it with the ridiculous aspects of this style of movie could be very entertaining and maybe even highlight it more. I would have fun with that.
Okay. I think that'd be a fun cast. That's for sure.
All right, who are you throwing in there?
That'd be an interesting cast. All right, so I'll throw in my first 2 that I would throw in that are so I got a theme for the last few, but the first two I would want to see Andy Samberg.
Okay.
And Idris Elba would be my two choices. I think Idris Elba, he has, first off, he just needs to be the next James Bond. Ed should already be unlocked. He should be. So always seeing him in these kind of more fun comedy roles, I always enjoy. I think he would do great, and he'd fit well into the world. And sorry, excuse me. Andy Samberg he's one of the funniest people on this planet. And I think, once again, this is very similar to the kind of shows that he creates already. So I think he'd just mesh well. Him being a lot of times a writer and director for some of the stuff he does, I think he would know very well how to work himself into this world. So, but the other people I would love to see is themed. And I'm not even going to tell you.
What?
I know Nessa talked about, but we talked about technically Nessa. But the viewers, I'm going to throw out 3 names here. There's a theme between them. And if you can figure it out, what the theme is and how they're connected, you'll know what potentially next week, maybe the week after, what one of our next episodes is going to be about.
All right.
Emma Stone, Emma Thompson, Mark Strong. Those are the 3.
Am I going to know this from what we talked about pre-episode?
Say again?
Am I going to know this from what we talked about pre-episode?
Yes.
Okay. I will say nothing.
So, but not only is it just for the theme, but I actually legitimately think they would work well. I like Mark Strong. He always plays like the butler. I mean, he was in Kingsman and stuff like that. The caretaker and stuff. So I think he would do well as like a bodyguard of some sort and stuff like that. And I think Emma Thompson is along the same lines as your Meryl Streep. And Emma Stone, I relate to Anna Kendrick a lot. I think they're very similar people. So I could see like a rivalry sequel between the two of them that I think would be a lot of fun.
That would be cool. I like that.
Yeah. So it wasn't just me throwing that. I legitimately think it would be a fun little thing. But there is a theme there. And if you could figure that out, you'll know what we're doing next episode. That's the tease. That's the tease for the next episode.
That's a good tease. Well, I mean, that's the next episode. We got this episode, which if you like the podcast, if you like following along, we got a bunch of other episodes that you can go and listen to. You can go check them out on YouTube. You can listen to them on Podbean, Apple, Spotify, all those places. And if you do that, you can give them the thumbs up. You can rate it 16 children out of 5 stars. All those wonderful things. We really appreciate it. Because the reviews really do help a lot with discovery so that other people can come hang out with us while we nerd out about video games and movies and TV shows.
And you can talk to us. We'd love to hear your both your positive thoughts, but also your legitimate thoughts. If you actually enjoyed the film that we're talking about or not. So
yeah. And you can do that on social media. Pause Reviewed Pod, POS Reviewed POD, Twitter and Instagram. Those are the things.
And you'll see Nessa's blue hair there.
Yeah, that's true. We will have to go and get a screenshot of the blue hair. The wig was very, very warm, in case anyone was curious. It sticks out already. About 8 inches from my head. It's very warm. So we only made it halfway through the episode with the wig.
I was longer than I thought you would.
I had to commit.
Alrighty, though. Alrighty. Thank you guys all for listening, and we'll see you guys next week.
Adios, everybody.